A very warm welcome to the new episode of Ink and Insights. This is your host, Sumit Sarma Samir. This is a Nepal based podcast. And if you are interested listening to the thought leaders and Nepali influencers from around the world, please subscribe to my channel. I'm extremely pleased to welcome Yash Raj Shrestha in my program today. Yash Raj Shrestha is an assistant professor at the Department of Information Systems, Faculty of Business and Economics at the University of Lausanne, where he is a group head of Applied Artificial Intelligence Lab. At ETH Zurich, he is an academic director of strategy and AI laboratory cell. His research program aims to identify solutions and frameworks for dealing with organizational and technical hurdles that business organizations face when adopting AI-based systems. He obtained his PhD degree from ETH Zurich and master's degree in computer science from Saarland University in Germany. Before joining University of Lausanne, he was a senior researcher at ETH Zurich. Prior to his PhD, he worked as a research associate at the Cluster of Excellence in Germany, the Max Planck Institute of Informatics, MPI in Germany, and the German Research Center for Artificial Intelligence Computer Science. He has also worked as a research engineer at Samsung Research and Development. His research has been published in leading outlets in both management and computer science, including Nature Machine Intelligence, Organization Science, Strategic Management Journal, California Management Review, Journal of Business Research, Journal of Organization Design, Nature Reviews by Engineering, EM, NLP, and IJCAI. Recently, he is awarded the inaugural Future of Organizations Fellowship from Organizations Design Community. Yash Raj, it's a pleasure to have you in my show. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Samirji, to have me. It's a great pleasure to talk with you.
Yes, Ji, for my audience, can you please briefly tell us about yourself? Where were you born and how did you reach where you are today?
So I was born and raised in Dharan in the eastern part of Nepal. And I did my education, the early education till my high school in Dharan. And then I got the scholarship from Indian Embassy to do engineering. Bachelor's. So with that scholarship, I went to NIT Durgapur to do my bachelor in engineering, in electronics and communication engineering. And after that, I moved to Germany and did my master's in computer science, and then moved to Switzerland to do my PhD. And since then, I'm now still in Switzerland with my academic position, and I have my team there. We work on applied AI, especially focused on finding solutions for business organizations.
Yeah, okay. So that's really a very inspiring story. Can you please elaborate the area of your work that you do at the University of Lausanne?
So my research is at the intersection of organizations and artificial intelligence. So in the last couple of years, we are witnessing rapid advancement in the development and application of AI for different kind of organizations. So not just like business organizations, but also NGOs and governments and so on. So we look at this intersection. So we want to identify problems that different organizations face when adopting or even designing AI in their day-to-day processes. So we work with them very closely, and we try to find challenges they face, and we try to solve it using both technological solutions as well as organizational theories, right? So from management, we have different kind of theories, and we try to find solutions in design and adoption of technology in organizations.
Right. Very interesting. Can you please tell us how a layman should understand what artificial intelligence is all about?
So artificial intelligence has a long history, but what is currently making a lot of news is on deep learning algorithms and generative AI, like large language models. So what these systems do is they are really good at making predictions based on the past data. For example, forecasting the weather tomorrow, or identifying startups to fund, or some kind of demand forecasting. So these are the problems where you have historical data and you want to predict what is going to happen next. So these kind of problems can be solved using machine learning algorithms and deep learning algorithms. And also problems of identification in healthcare and in medicine. So for example, you have a large number of x-rays and CT scans, and you can use vision algorithms to identify diseases, right? So if there is a cataract in the eyes, or pneumonia in the lungs, so you can do identification using machine learning algorithms. And very recently, beyond prediction and identification, now we are also moving towards creativity, right? With large language models, you can create text, you can write essays, right? You can also create images, you can create music, videos,
Right.
just by prompting. So we are going from prediction to creativity, and also towards scientific discovery, right? So there's this model of AlphaFold, which helped scientists to identify new proteins, and there are a large number of models being developed to help scientists with scientific discovery. So we are going from typical prediction problem, identification problem, to creativity and discovery. So that's kind of the continuum, and the speed of development is like rapid, right? So we are witnessing like new developments, new models almost every week, every year. So that means that there's a lot of excitement, large number of positive use cases, but at the same time, potential to have some kind of social or ethical problems, right? When technology grows very fast, and there's also potential that they will be misused by some adversarial actors, for example. So that's the interesting thing, right? So there's a lot of positive thing, a lot of enthusiasm, but also there's the fear of these technologies being misused. And
Right. So my question on that would be, Yasraji, you have just pointed out that from prediction you are moving to the um, creative field as well, right? So what does that mean in the larger society as such?
so this is a big, we are witnessing a paradigm shift, right? So let's talk about what is happening in companies now. We are working with both large and small companies in Europe, and what we are seeing is change in the way people value experience in those companies. As for example, if you are a software engineer with 10 years of experience in writing Python or Java code, and now with just somebody with a high school degree or a bachelor's degree with very little experience of programming can now use GitHub Copilot or something similar
Absolutely.
to write code with the same kind of speed, right? Maybe not the same kind of quality, but same kind of speed, right? So it changes the value of experience in a company. Same with music production or art creation, or for journalists, right? So for journalists now with ChatGPT and similar models, you can write articles much faster, and even if you don't use the article that GPT gives you, you can edit it, modify it, and you can speed up the process. So what is the value of experience now, right? So if you are an experienced person in any kind of job with 10, 15 years of work experience, and now a newcomer can come to your organization, and tools like LLMs can reduce the entry barrier for you to do any kind of task, right? So that's one big uh, change. So
Shift.
another
Yeah.
change, right? So and another change is regarding de-skilling, right? So when you start driving your car using GPS, and you lose the, let's say, the skills to use a map or to remember the way. And with now the generations learning things using GPT and LLM, even university students, now they use LLMs to write their master thesis and so on. So it also changes the way people learn, and the education. And also there's a question now whether that is going to impact human creativity, right? Because
Right.
if you start using LLMs in almost every creative work, it's going to impact your trajectory of learning and your trajectory of gaining some kind of proficiency. And so this is another big question that organizations are facing. So we look at similar problems and similar questions. So there are large number of them. I just wanted to give you like two examples.
Yeah, no, that's very insightful. Thank you for those examples. Yeah, see, with the historians, if you read them, they have suggested in the past that the imagination and the creativity are the two hallmarks of human evolution that sort of drove them from where they were to the present stage. And if that elements are going to be hijacked by the machine, what do you think would be the future of mankind or humanity as such?
Yeah, that is actually a very important question, because creativity is not just about developing your skills and maintaining a trajectory of learning, but it's also about self esteem and motivation, right? So if you create something great, you feel happy about it. It kind of triggers some kind of psychological process in your brain, and you feel happy. Like if you cook your own food, the food tastes better than somebody else cook. Similar with paintings. So we have a lot of research output from kids. Like when kids do the task themselves, they feel much happier than if somebody else do it for them. So this is, I think, a very philosophical question, like how I think next generation, especially now with school education system, there will be a generation of students who will be born into the age of ChatGPT and so on, right? So they start using it from very early age, and how that will impact their creativity is going to be a challenging question. So what we know so far from research is, so there are some research, especially in idea generation. So they have shown that if you use large language models for idea generation, the overall diversity of idea reduces, right? So that is one finding. So it is likely that this could reduce diversity in terms of creativity.
Can you please elaborate on that? It would be very helpful. I think you said something very important.
Yeah. So if a large number of people start to use the same kind of tools for creating something, right? Then we are kind of missing on the human ingenuity, right? So every individual
Right,
has some unique
right,
characteristics, and if
right.
everybody starts to use same tools and same kind of process in developing something, then all the output may look similar to each other, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It may not become anything creative as such because everyone is using the same tool with the
Yeah,
same questions, right?
exactly. Like, if you want to go from, Kathmandu to Biratnagar, if you use GPS, it will show just one or two ways, right? And, you lose some people who will lose their path. And, those errors are sometimes creative, right? And sometimes efficiency and optimization hampers creativity in a way.
Right, right. So one question always triggers me, yes, quite often is that the history of human civilization has invented different things at different times. Do you think AI is just another invention in this evolution process, or is it something that is completely, going to alter our experiences or the way we have lived so far?
So this is again a very important question, and there is a kind of debate, right? So there is a group of academics who feel that AI is nothing different as compared to steam engine or electricity or agriculture and so on. It's just a shock in the human civilization, and it is not going to be different than what other technologies has done in the past. But on the
Right.
other hand, there's another group of academics who believe that, especially the current AI, the AI which is enhancing creativity, it is it is quite different thing because it is targeting something that is unique to human, right? It's about
Mm.
creativity and logic and reasoning and so on. And so it's changing something that is unique to humans. So that is what those people feel. But irrespective of that, AI is considered to be now a general purpose technology. So it is a
Yeah.
technology which is impacting almost every aspect of both economic and social life, right? So everything from the phone you use to the e-commerce websites that you use to buy things, cars, also the watch, everything is now having some kind of AI in it, whether you want to have it or not, or whether you like it or not, right? So even when you travel in the airports, there's always a camera which is surveying your facial images. So you're constantly monitored using AI. You use AI every day in one form or other. So it is touching each and every part of your life, right? So
So at least safely we can tell or say that we are at the crossroads, and let's see how things will be driven in the future. But the another area of interest is that you also work at the intersection of organizations. So can you please tell how the organizations are evolving in today's context compared to a decade ago?
yeah, so organizations is also a type of technology, right? So it's organization is one of the, again, another general purpose technology. And organizations are designed in a way where you can integrate large number of agents together, right? So human agents, so they come together, they form an organization, and the idea there is to do some kind of division of labor and integration of efforts between the different individuals to solve an organizational problem, right? So that is
Mhm.
the definition of organization, and there are so many different designs for organizations. So what is changing now is that there are two things, right? So one is the demographics of the world is changing. So we have a large number of young people who have different kind of uh, demands from organization. They don't like hierarchy, for example. They like to change from one company to another, like within 2 years. So like,
Mm.
20, 30 years ago, like everybody used to spend their entire career in a one company, and now there's a rapid changes. At the same time, there's also changes in the technology that you need for doing your work, right? So every
Right.
couple of years you need to re-educate your employees in a company. So that is the one change which has already been there for last 10 years. And now another change that we see in organization is like the integration of humans and AI, right? So large number of decisions are now taken not only by humans, but they are either delegated to machine learning algorithms, or machine learning algorithms give some advice and the human manager works on it and then takes the final decision, right?
Right.
So for example, especially in human resource management, in big companies like Google, they receive thousands of resume every day,
Mm.
right, for job hunt, and it is impossible for HR managers to go through all of them. So what
Right.
HR managers now do is they use AI to do the first layer of filtering, and then the AI will give a small set of uh, resume for the next step, right? So this is called sequential decision making, that AI firstly takes the decision and then human takes the decisions. And there are other places like dynamic pricing and high frequency trading, right, and so on, where there is not even need of having a human in a loop. So everything is delegated to AI, right?
So,
So
what kind of work you don't need to do wherein there isn't a human in a loop?
it's we call it delegation, right? So we delegate it. You can also say automation.
Right.
So, right, like in the banks, also in Nepal, actually, they use this fraud detection algorithms, because every day there are like thousands and millions of transactions.
Uh-huh.
And 30, 40 years ago, that there used to be a people audit who check everything, but now with so many transactions, you cannot manually verify every one of them. So there is a fraud detection algorithms also for the loan credit score, right? So if
Mm.
there are large number of loan applications or large number of insurance claims, big companies, insurance companies now use AI to at least come up with a score, right? Whether it's valid or not.
Right, right. So you're literally saying that there's a threat of, if a lot of things has been handled and managed by the machine inside the office, inside the organizations, then a lot of people might lose their job from that perspective, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually already happening now, right? So there are a large number of jobs being replaced by AI, but at the same time, there is hope that new jobs will be created, right? But it is true, especially in the Western economies where human hours are very expensive. We are already witnessing large number of tasks being automated, right? Like in
Mm.
supermarkets, there is like there are large number of supermarket stores in US, Europe, and also in China where there are no employees there, so everything is scanned. So they will scan your retina and scan your face, and then you take something from there, and then the computer vision algorithm will identify what you are taking and then deduct money from your accounts. So this is already a reality. Same with logistics and supply chain, right? So big companies like Alibaba and JD.com and Amazon, they have to deliver large number of packets every day, right? Millions and millions of packets. Like in China, in the Spring Festival time, they have so many deliveries, and there they use again computer vision algorithms and robotics to automate as many as they can. So it's already a reality.
Right, right. Yes, and what should those population do, who would be left out of the process to stay relevant in this entire um, process, I would say.
Yeah, so it's a challenging problem because there will be some jobs that will be gone and there will be some new jobs that will come, right? So I think the policy should be to kind of re-educate or retrain these individuals with new skills so that they can be, let's say, integrated in the, or they can contribute to the things that remain, because this is a reality. So there will be a large number of tasks and processes which is going to be automated and which are already being automated, right? So it's
Right, right. And what kind of skills and what kind of jobs are likely to be created?
so so there are some I think some theories which say that jobs that require some human to human connection, right? Human to human, like nursing. So
Mm.
those kind of jobs will be difficult to automate, and also there's going to be a huge demand for those kind of jobs, especially with the demographics. There's going to be like a high proportion of people in the world who are going to be old age people because the
Right,
fertility rate is reducing. So almost in all countries, right? Even in Asian countries now, the growth or the birth rate is reducing. So so it's likely that there will be a large number of new roles or jobs required to look after this aging population, right? And there,
mm,
I think there's a need to reskill people who are losing their jobs to to satisfy this need. I think. And this is another big problem that many companies like Japan, for example, is facing, right? So Japan has a very low birth rate and they have an aging population. Same with South Korea. South Korea has like now birth rate of around zero point 0.7. So it's very, very low. And governments are trying their best to incentivize young couples to have kids, but it's not working. And same with China, right? So China had like a one-child policy for many, many years, and they removed it. And still now, the young generation don't even want to have one kid because the stress and life is very difficult. So there's going to be I think a huge aging population, and I think we need to develop skills for the people who are losing their jobs because of AI to go and fill that gap.
Right, right. Simultaneously, there's a huge hype to the very notion of longevity, that's been talked about around the world when people don't want to get old, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Especially with now, massive developments in medicine and healthcare. Also, thanks to AI, right? So AI is also speeding up some of the research in healthcare, right? So we also
Right.
do some of the work on how kind of medicine can be benefit from machine learning, because there's a large amount of data now on protein to protein interaction, electronic health records. So that data can be used to improve human life and also increase the age.
Right. Yes, I can understand really the use of AI in our day-to-day life, even in the organizations. But how can one ensure that the data set that we use to train AI models is representative and doesn't include the harmful biases?
So there are many, let's say, processes to identify biases in AI outcome. But the reality is, I think it's very difficult to have unbiased machine learning systems, especially because of the cost that it requires. I give you example of a project that we are doing right now with one of the big pharmaceutical company in Switzerland. So they want to build the AI system for detecting diseases, right? Or to use it in a healthcare system. So the fact is, like, most of the clinical health records is from the Western population, right? So normally from the Western Europe or the North America. And when you use that data to build the AI model, and if you use that AI model on African population, right, or even Asian population, so it's almost sure that that model will create more errors for
Right.
the African or Asian population than the Western population, right? So this is the reality. And if you want to fix it, if you want to make a model which is going to work equally good for all the different population, you have to collect much more data, right? In
Mm.
Asia, in Africa, and so on, right? So one, doing that is costly. You have to now collect large amount of data in Asia and Africa, especially when they don't already have infrastructure to do that, right? So because electronic health records and digital data in North America and Europe, they already started to collect 10, 15 years ago, and so because of that, they have a historical data. But if you want to
Right.
do that now in Africa, they don't have it yet. So if you start now, it may need like 10 years to build that data set. And obviously,
Mm.
you have to wait for that, right? So same in a low and middle income country. That is one thing, and another thing is the incentive systems are quite different, right? So in Western Europe, they have a very good insurance, health insurance system. So they have funds and they have incentives to make data collection easier and cost effective. On the other hand, in Africa, they don't have that. So so you have to first build the incentive system to start collecting data, and then you have to motivate the patients to share the data, because there's also a trust issue, right? So there's so many things, not only technical problem, but social and incentive and economic
Absolutely.
problem. So that
Yeah.
makes,
Yeah.
so even if you know that there's a bias in the medical tool that you are using, solving it, you have to either wait for 10 years, or you have to live with the bias, right? So that's what we.
Okay. Okay. So you have to do some sort of compromise out there, right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly, the
understandable.
trade-off. Yeah.
Right. So, yes, one very generic question. What kind of skill sets that's required in today's context to sort of stay relevant in any sectors? Because AI has been used in any sectors these days. So, can you please highlight some of the skill sets that's really required for people to stay relevant?
So I think one thing that is very important for almost all kind of organization is to stay updated, up to date with the technology. So even if you don't understand how technology works, but to understand, there's a now existing technology which has this kind of capability, it's very important. So this is useful for two things. So one is, like, if you have a problem in your business, and if you know there's a technology which helps you in that problem, then you can bring it into your company and use it. That is one thing. And another
Right.
thing is like understanding, the availability of that technology also helps you to protect yourself from problems that that technology can produce, right? So one example I can give you is, in this year, so this is a year of large number of elections, right? So there are like eight largest populous country, right? 8 out of 10 largest populous countries in the world have election this year. And
Right.
this election is unique because, these elections are unique because there's now generative AI available. And there's a large number of automated, propaganda, fake news being created in social media and so
True.
on. And so if you know that, generative AI can create fake news and propaganda. Not only it can create large number of fake news and propaganda, but it can also create customized propaganda for you, right? So if I know your characteristics, if I know your history, if I know, your profile, I can create a propaganda, which is very convincing to you, right?
Right.
So this is the reality, and if you know those technologies are already there, it helps you to be more, let's say, um, careful. And so that is one thing I think. So I think we have to be all updated about like what are the technologies that exist, and critically think about those technologies.
We have to, as you rightly said, that need to be careful that some of the things will be produced that we should not be, influenced by, but we need to be using that because we don't have any other choice, right?
Exactly,
It's a
exactly.
very strange situation.
Exactly. So the reality is like, I mean, if you are a company and if you don't use it, your competitor may use it or will use it, and
True.
then you lose something, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. So, in that context, my last question to you, yes, for today's program is, where do you see the entire world heading towards? Perhaps it's a very lengthy response that's required, but specifically in a couple of points, in a decade or two, with the use of this artificial intelligence.
for this, I have like a both like a pessimistic and optimistic kind of prediction, right? So the pessimistic prediction, which is highly likely, is it is going to increase asymmetry of authority and power in the world. Uh, this is likely, and this is also the status quo right now, right? So if you look at, where all these big machine learning development comes from, is from 5 or 6 companies in the world, right? Like, one of these 5 big tech companies, they are developing all the giant AI models because they have all the resources, army of engineers, large amount of data to do that, and rest of the companies are using it, and they are dependent on those big companies, right? This is a trend, and it is likely to continue because uh, AI models, it not only need like a engineering talent, but it also need a large amount of data and resources, energy,
True.
and compute power to do that. So if this is going to continue to be the reality, it is going
So,
to
so,
increase.
so, in a simple term, are you suggesting that the power and authority would be captured by few companies, tech companies?
Yeah, this is currently the status quo,
Okay.
and my pessimistic prediction is it is going to make it much more asymmetric, right?
Right.
Uh, so right now, I mean, you have already seen cases where big companies are interfering in elections, right? Especially with social media, you can actually sway the public opinion and so on, right? So that was before generative AI and all these big models, and now with better technology, more reach of internet, these things become much more easier, right? And
Right.
that is the pessimistic prediction, which is likely, right? And the optimistic prediction is, there will be a more push for, let's say, citizen involvement in AI development, more democratic, open sourcing of the models, and so on, right? So instead of becoming, completely, run by a few companies, it will become more collaborative and things like that. But for that, we need to introduce a paradigm shift in how we are building AI models, and how to incentivize or build structures in the society and also technology to make that happen. But that will
Right.
need a lot of work, I think.
Right. And we have a lot of, experts, people like you, who I believe would stick to that optimistic version of future and would help accelerate world in that direction. Yes. Thank you so much for your time. It's really
Thanks
wonderful
a lot.
talking with you.
Thanks a lot, Sumit ji.